We have the whole team together for this episode of the Houndsman XP podcast. Shorty, Seth, and Lauren are all in the house together, and we gang up on Josh Michaelis, who can hold his own. Josh, second or third time on the podcast, I think, but of Big Show Productions. Check out his YouTube channel. He's interviewed some great houndsmen there, and he brings a perspective to this conversation from the competition coon hunting world, and glad to have Josh on the podcast. You're really going to enjoy it. We cover all kinds of topics. You know what a houndsman talk about when they don't have anything else to talk about? They talk about hounds. They talk about breeding. They talk about prices of hounds. It's all in here, folks. You're going to enjoy this candid conversation among houndsmen. You know, when I was a little kid, I used to hang out in the behind the staircase there and listen to my family, the adults in my family, discuss all types of things. And what that did is it helped me develop opinions and standards and principles in my life. But that's what we want out of all these conversations. And you're going to hear things that you may not agree with. Hey, that's okay. These conversations are to provoke thought and help all houndsmen reflect on how they feel about things, but also develop their own thoughts on things. And believe me, I take no offense if you reach out to me and say, hey, I don't agree with this. We want to hear your perspective. We'll include it in the future show if you do that. So anyway, hey, enjoy this episode. We're going to get right to it. And don't forget to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or wherever you're finding your podcasts and listening to us ramble on. So, guys, we got it going on right here. We need to get some dogs on it. It's time to dump the box. So, if we're going to make this wild and crazy, we'll just make it wild and crazy and add Lauren as she's ready. So, got a message to her and ready to roll. So, you guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I got a good question to ask you, Chris, right off the bat.
Oh, all right. Any questions, Josh?
Not right offhand, no.
Man,
I'll let this kind of go and see how it goes.
This is going to be a wild one.
Great.
So, all right. So, welcome to the Houndsman XP podcast. We've got a mosh pit of houndsmen on this thing today. I don't even know what to call it. We got Shorty, how you doing? You on the air? Can we hear you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Well,
we got Seth Hall.
What's up, everybody?
Seth Long Dog Hall is on the podcast today.
Nice.
It's great. It's great to have you back on the air, Seth.
It's been way too long.
Man, it's been
I've
forever.
Just been a shadow creature, but I'm glad to be back.
Yep, and we got Josh Big Show Michaelis is on the air with us today. So, Josh, I'm happy you're here, and we're waiting on somebody too. So, Josh, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Chris. We're just working away, enjoying life.
Yeah. It looks like we're waiting on a woman, so we're going to dial in.
I'm glad you said it.
we're going to dial in Lauren right now. She's not on the air, so we can say whatever we want for now.
She'll come back and get you, no doubt.
I know. I don't even know how to do it. Oh, here it is. I'm being a little bit technically challenged right now. You guys just carry the conversation, man.
All right, I got a question. I'm going to deflect it over to Shorty. Okay, Shorty.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
So I recently got an offer on my 2 long dogs, and it was a pretty generous offer as for the pair. What was your favorite name? And honestly, what would be the amount you would sell that dog for? Because I actually internally battled with this for some time.
What was my favorite? You broke up there for just a second.
What was your favorite dog's name? And what amount of money would it have taken for you to honestly part with that dog? Like saying he's going to a great home and a good hunter and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've had probably two two favorite dogs. One of them, my current stud dog, a dog by the name of Taylor, and he's just retired to being a stud dog. And another dog was a dog named Curly. And to be honest with you, they wouldn't be for sale. And you might think I'm crazy when I say that, but
no, definitely
here's the
not.
thing you have to ask: like, okay, would that money actually make a difference in your life? Okay, and probably not. Like, no matter what they're going to give you for the dog, it's probably not going to make a life-changing amount of money. Is it going to change things for a minute? Yeah, absolutely. But when you look back, and I've learned this from talking to people who sold dogs for what they thought was a lot of money at the time, and looking back on it, they've told me the exact same thing. Like, it didn't change my life. I should have never sold the dog. And so, yeah. So, like, if you like them that much, then I'm just not going to sell them. Like,
and I'm feeling pretty sage, because that's exactly how I felt. Like, me and my wife were talking about it pretty seriously, and I was like, what am I going to do if I sell my two experienced dogs? And, like, is the joy they've brought to me worth? I mean, I'm pretty, like, not financially the beast, but, like, even still, what I was offered, I would have burned through that on probably frivolous things, and then what am I going to do? Like, I was just curious what everyone around here kind of thought, financially, truly, what they would pay to, like, what they thought they would sell their dogs for. And what I decided on is so totally ludicrous that I would never get that for him anyway. So I was like, I was just kind of curious what everyone kind of thought about that.
Don't be surprised, man. If you throw a number out there, be ready to take it, because you might think that, but an animal is worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. So if you throw a number out there, don't be surprised if somebody's like, yeah, I'll give you that.
Ask Josh. What do you think, Josh?
All of mine, since I started doing this, have always been for sale, and I'm not shy about saying it. How I get the joy out of the sport is getting those dogs to that point. And so I don't really have a huge emotional attachment or things like that, but I have turned down some really good offers on a dog like Con or Dollar. And I can't think of a single dog I wouldn't put a number on. I would put a number on every coonhound that I've ever raised, bred, and trained. But like Shorty said, sometimes that number is ludicrous, because at that time I don't want to sell them. But I mean, I'll say we turned down $20,000 for Con when he was a 2-year-old, and at that point, I didn't do it because of any emotional attachment or anything like that. I did it because I think at that time it would have cost me that much or more to replace him. So it was more of a numbers thing than it was a, attachment thing.
Wow.
You look at like Wipeout Z reportedly sold for around $100,000.
And you gotta take into account too that, Josh, how much do you think that is accurate, or do you think that that's
from the source
conflated?
I have, that's pretty accurate. And you have to remember, since then he's won almost $100,000, and he's still a young dog.
Yeah. So it's a different game than, I don't know, Seth, is there any place that somebody could compete with long dogs and recoup their money like that?
Yeah, so I don't know who's on video or who's not, but every dollar sign you guys just threw out, my jaw was just gaping wider and wider. Like, if someone offered that kind of money for Pronto, I would be like, bye, buddy, I love you. Like, you're out of here. Like,
it's a different world. Like, for instance, I just hunted with two of the nicest beagles, or one of the nicest packs of beagles on the planet, and a really, really good beagle that can go to a competition and win doesn't bring anywhere close to those prices, from puppies to adult dogs or nothing. And with the coonhound world and the part of the sport that I'm involved in, these are huge money events, $6,500 entry fees, hunts that pay $80,000.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of money involved at the very top tier of that. But that being said, you can still go get a really good coon dog for $1,500. you got to look hard, and they're usually a young dog that's not finished or polished or won or anything like that. But puppies still go really well-bred puppies still go cheap, $300, $400, all the way up to, I've seen puppies sell for $2,500, at 7-8 weeks old. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just depends on what you're looking for. But, Lauren, are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Finally.
Well, I said wow at some point, like a little bit in there, after Seth's both facial and body reaction to the 100 G's.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, for 100, if somebody wants 100 G's, I'll sell everything I got and a Tundra.
I was going to say,
Tundra.
for 100 G's, you can have my house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not going there.
It might be
the thing that
sell my dog.
Go ahead, Lauren.
Even though, like, you guys are saying, there's a price tag on everything, or there could be one. Like, that's kind of where I split off and take a different fork down the coonhound road.
We know.
See, and I think it all depends on what you're doing with your dogs, and what, like for me, if I sell my dogs to somebody else, then now they're competing. Like, I'm making money off of hunting my dogs for the public. So if somebody's got better dogs than me, why would they hire me? Now they're going to go hire that guy because he's got better dogs than I do. So I'd be a fool to sell somebody. You know what I mean? So what's the objective? What are you using your dogs for? So, like, are you raising dogs to sell for a profit? Then yeah, you got to sell them. Are you competing? I think it all depends. And for me, I've talked this over with several guys doing the same in the same industry that I'm in. We can't sell our good dogs to our competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we go broke,
Well, and then they have that breeding too. It's
exactly.
not one dog that's changing everything. Then they have that, the start of that line, and that could change everything both for you and them.
Right. And so that's another thing. If I do sell a dog, it's a good dog. It's probably going to be, at least a good dog or better in whoever's pack's buying it, but they're spayed or neutered. And just for that reason, I will not sell a dog that's not spayed or neutered because everything that we worked for years and years and years, you just hand it over to your competition. Yeah,
it sounds like talking to Bob Barker here. Have your pet spayed or neutered.
Yeah.
No, I think a lot of this all goes into what our overarching goal is today, and right. You see so many posts on social media about buying dogs and puppies and started dogs and this and that, but for Josh and I, it's one of those things that we've got a different view on it because we've kind of lived in that competition sure. Coonhound world, and if you look at other than the latest Kentucky Derby winner that sold originally for $1,000, which is crazy. What was his name? What's that horse's name? Medina
Spirit.
What was it?
Medina Spirit.
Yeah, Medina Spirit. Bob Baffett took that dog or that horse and won the Kentucky Derby, and that's like every competition hunter's dream is to find that young dog and then win the world hunt with it. Wouldn't you agree, Josh?
Mm-hmm. I would agree, and that's when I talked about Colin earlier. When I got that offer for him, he was just a 2-year-old. He'd just come off his sophomore Super Stakes, and I really felt at that time, this is a young dog. I'm going to win that much and more. Now that didn't pan out for reasons that you can't see at that time. And he kind of got cast stale, and he got to where we couldn't win as easily with him. And so, looking back, do I wish I would have took the money? Sometimes I do, but then also, I've used him to train young dogs. He's he still can win a cast here and there. He's not like he was, but it's 6 of one, half and does the other. I have sold one dog that I regret selling, but out of all the dogs I've sold, which usually my dogs are tree and coons alone, and they're ready to be in a cat or ready to start being in a crowd when I sell them, and they're in the $3,000 to $4,000 range. So I'm not selling huge numbers or dogs with huge price tags or anything. But yeah, I mean, it's different. Like you said, Chris, I've been around beagles and labs and pointers and coyote dogs and things like that, and they all just have a different price tag for their ability, for what people are doing with them.
One of the things that I've noticed is puppy prices in hounds. There's a lot of different camps. Well, there's a couple different camps. You got the premium puppy price, and then you've got the hound puppy price. And you alluded to it earlier, Josh. You said, $200 to $300 to $400 range, and then you get into the higher levels. Some of these pups you're selling for $800 plus, and
yeah.
It's what is it about? We'll just boil this down. What is it about coon hunters that think that they can still pay $200 for a coonhound puppy? Because you can't touch a Labradoodle that has absolutely zero expectations other than to be a dog for less than $1,000.
I think the main thing is that, and we've all experienced that. What's that Labradoodle got to prove?
Nothing.
I mean, you get that dog and you scratch its head and you teach it to poop outside, and then that's it.
Yeah, just like that's
these coonhounds don't all make it, and so if you're looking at 3 out of 10 puppies that will make a dog that will tree a coon by itself, some of these guys don't want to pay that. But the breeding, I can't speak for every breed, but the Walker breed has gotten to where the success rate for dogs that can be a serviceable coon dog is a lot higher than it was 20 years ago. I mean, these puppies, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 are making dogs that can tree a coon versus 1 out of 10 20 years ago, and when we were breeding and selling back then too. So I think the prices have gone up because of that. Also, the prices have gone up because of everything, but some of these guys are still stuck in that, I don't know if he's going to make it. I don't want to spend a bunch of money on him.
In my world, I got Pronto and Calypso for $250 a piece, and they grew up to be just hair assassins, and so it's routine for long dog pups to be between, $150 to $350. That's pretty easy to find. There's just not this, competition based lucrative market behind them. And so that's been a big kind of culture and kind of eye-opening shift for me, is that there is some serious money behind these competition dogs, and that's a whole different world than I ever even thought was possible, to be very honest. It's pretty incredible. I was surprised. And another thing too is I only have 4 runners, and one of them's really young right now. And if I sold my 2 older long dogs, I'd have nothing. So I'd be out of the sport completely. And, a good, consistent hair catching dog really is worth a lot in our world, between $2,000 to $5,000 for a consistent, young, healthy, high-powered, consistent dog catching hares. And so, to me, he's worth way more to me here at the house catching hares for me than he is, lining my pocketbooks. And if I had more dogs, I probably would have a lot different mindset. But just currently with my small pack, I just got to make do with what I got. And I really can't do it without those 2 right now. Maybe in the future, but then they'll be old and not worth much. So they also play a pretty important role on the pet front. So they'll just kind of get pats on the head, I guess. But, and speaking to the designer dogs, I have friends that paid $2,500 for a cross between a poodle and an Australian Shepherd. And when I heard that, I was just like, what? Dude, I could go find one of those in the pound for $50.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we've got a lot invested.
It's pretty
We're in
crazy.
the wrong business. We need to be raising designer dogs.
Hey, I've
Absolutely.
got the plan. I've got the plan. So my
Uh-oh.
daughter has a standard poodle, and I'm going to take that. I've got her talked into it. I think we're going to take that poodle and breed it to a blue tick, and we're going to start our own breed called the poo tick.
The poo tick.
I don't know. I think you should go with blue. You got to go with Bloodle.
I was going to say
That's
Somebody
what I was
else-
thinking.
Bloodle.
Yeah.
Somebody else said Bloodle, but
Got to
poo-
go with Bloodle.
You
and
think?
then make a small one, and you can have a miniature Bloodle.
a Bloodleito.
Lauren, I think we just found your new stud dog for your for Piper.
So the poodle's a male.
No, the poodle's a female.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ridge could breed to her then.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, me and you, we're gonna partner up.
I mean, you know what? Right now it's anything goes, I guess. So whatever.
Yeah.
You know, when Lauren was here at my house, we were talking about if Cedar came into heat and Pronto mated to her, they'd call those puppies Cedar Rapids. And we thought we were pretty clever.
You thought you were clever.
I wish I had a drum.
No, I was thinking more like a gong.
Yeah.
The gong show. Let's get back to hunting.
Yeah, no doubt.
She didn't come into heat while I was there. She was about a month late, and now I'm waiting for Piper to come in. And things are always fun here at the Funny Farm.
Yeah, so you're trying to find the right stud, and this whole show's about, it's kind of a mosh pit, but it's really about, just all the things that houndsmen deal with every day is trying to figure out the next big cross. So I got to ask you, Lauren. You got Piper. You're looking for the right stud for her to raise a litter of puppies. Why do you want to raise a litter of puppies out of Piper?
So I knew I wanted to breed her probably at maybe around the end of last bear season, because I knew I wasn't wanting to make the decision until she was, around 3, and I wouldn't want to breed her until she was 4 or 5. She's 3.5 now. What I've seen out of her is just a style of hunting that I really, really, really like. She's competition coonhound bred. I've been talking with a couple people on how her papers are stacked, and some people are impressed that way, but bear hunting is my passion right now, so I'm struggling with what to do. But I want to breed her based on her style of hunting that I'm liking, the success that I've had with her, the traits that she's showing make me happy. And I think, I want to breed to better the breed. So yes, she has faults, and yes, she has, things that are good. So whoever I pick, I want that dog to complement the faults that Piper has. I will say I want to breed Piper because she's the best dog I have, and I want, a chance to have even a tidbit of that. I'll be selfish and say that I want to breed her because I need more of that. And there's really not a lot, there's no other blood of her. No siblings are being bred or hunted or anything like that. And there was only one litter out of her cross.
Something's going on with your connection, but I think we got the whole idea there. But so I think are you saying that you want to breed her because you like what you've got and you want to duplicate it? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, we'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, I want more of what she's offering. I don't want a pack of just pack dogs. I want more Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Go for it.
Okay. She's my bear start dog. she's the dog that you can put in the woods in thin coon, and she will take a cold track and she will find it, in the dead of winter in a sleet storm.
I've
stuff.
seen it.
Yeah. Well, not in the winter, but in the crazy cattails.
And the Rio Grande.
Yeah, she'll pull stuff out of her hat, and it's fun. Is she a competition coonhound? No. Even though she comes from some really good stuff, she prefers the colder things, I guess. Conformation wise, her faults are her front feet kind of turn out a little bit, and she's got, some third eyelid that's showing just a little too much for my liking. If you read the breed standard, that's where I see her faults. Oh, and she's got a really good bite, except there's like 2 teeth that like stick out a little bit more than other ones. So nothing huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Josh, when you're thinking about making a cross, what are you looking at?
We're always just looking to get better. I found that you can't take a dog that say I've got a trailing type dog and it doesn't make enough trees and it's not quite as fast as what we want. And, we breed that to a dog that maybe is a little quicker to get treed, not quite as accurate, something like that. And you don't actually get, in my experience, you don't actually get the traits to mesh together like you want to get that dog that, one dog fills in the holes of the other. So what we try to do is we try to find balanced coon dogs that have the traits that we like. And we pay really a lot of attention to their pedigree, because I know you'll see these guys on the internet and papers don't do this and papers don't do that. But I can tell a lot about a treeing walker before it's ever born. These dogs have certain genetic traits that are very prevalent in certain strains. And so we just try to match those things up and we try to find balance. And then we try to pick up the slack. As long as we can get the talent there, we feel like we can pick up the slack during training. So just give me the talent and the natural ability that I'm looking for and the natural tendencies like independence and motor and things like that. And then, I try my best to take the rest, as far as the training goes and fill those holes in myself.
Well, in our situation, Josh, I think we're looking for some specific traits. And I think that is kind of universal it doesn't matter whether you're chasing bobcats in South Texas or lions in Northwest Montana or coons in the Midwest, and competing for MPKC. I guess that's where I kind of want to take the conversation is you got to be a student. You got to be a student of, you hit on it with, I know what that pup should be by looking at the pedigree. And so now I'm going to make this cross. But you take somebody like Shorty Gorham, Shorty, you're down there in South Texas. Let's get your spin on it and see what you have to say, because you've bred some dogs and you've been in this game for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's it's a lot more complicated than it should be, and I don't know why, but it's not like cooking or something where you say, oh, this is a little too sweet, let's throw a little salt in there and it balances it out. It doesn't seem to work like that. But yeah, I think you just for me, just keep breeding toward the traits you like, and I've never taken a dog that was terrible at these certain aspects of the hunt, crossed it with a dog that was really good at those aspects in the hunt, and got a balance. Like it's a crapshoot, I think, kind of for me when you do that. Like you either get superstar or complete dud. But I think that's the hard part about breeding is a lot of times we think that we can just take let's make it real simple. We can take a cold nosed dog and breed it to a hot nosed dog and get a medium nosed dog, and it doesn't seem to pan out that way. And I think that was the thing. Like you were saying earlier, about 20 years ago, the dogs you were breeding, getting a smaller success rate than you are now. And I think we're figuring all that out. Like we need to breed good dogs to good dogs to get good dogs and to improve the breed. And the only way we can do that is breed the best dogs that are available to the best dogs that are available and go from there. I don't think, I just haven't had any success taking a dog down here and breeding mediocre to great and trying to get better. It's been really hunting hard for the best stud dog that I could find to breed to my female that was good all the way across the board, and that's the only time I've ever improved what I had in the puppies is really, just trying to breed the best to the best in all reality. And I like to breed the best to the best if they're related just a little bit. You can go a little bit too far with that, but I like if we can stay in that same line a little bit. I've had really good luck doing that, and I'm not an expert on line breeding, but we've had good luck doing that, and it's just. But I think that's the thing where people get confused, in my opinion, and I've done it. Heck, I think all of us have come up with the hopes of taking a dog, but I think a lot of young people want to breed. They got a dog and they're like, well, this dog's, lacking here, strong here. But if I breed to a dog that's strong here, it's going to make up for that. And it really doesn't.
All right.
What
So
about-
Real interesting.
Time for me.
I knew that was going to happen.
Seth,
I knew
go.
that. We were all going to jump.
I know. I just sent a message to Josh telling him to jump in because I know he's chomping at the bit. So, Seth, you go, man.
Talking what Shorty was saying, quite the opposite is what you see. It is like the mainstay of like current trends right now in my life. A lot of people cross a Saluki to a Greyhound to try to get that endurance and excellent feet, body durability of a Greyhound or of a Saluki, and then cross that to that super high powered speed of a Greyhound to try to find that middle ground between power and speed and endurance and good feet. And don't get me wrong, there are dogs that can kind of get that blend, but everybody.
Let me jump in here because I don't think I got. Let me explain a little bit more before everybody jumps in.
Before we start butchering you?
No. Well, you can't take a below. Like you still have to breed good dogs to good dogs. Is what I'm saying.
Sure,
you know what I mean? You can
can
improve them by doing that, but you can't breed a crappy dog to a good dog and get a medium.
I don't think
it's
anybody's
basically what I'm
advocating
saying.
that.
So, yeah.
But like
So,
what
go
I mean
ahead.
is,
Anyway.
I agreed with you, by the way. I do agree with you because like what I was going to say is like not a lot of, and myself included, don't have a degree in genetics, which is like crazy complicated. But when you breed a pure Greyhound, which is like the epitome of ultimate power and speed, and you cross a Saluki, which is like the zenith of endurance and like excellent body durability for a high powered speed dog like that, you're never going to get that perfect 50-50. That's just not the way genetics works. You're going to have it's going to swing, the pendulum is going to swing more or less to one direction. And so like I've seen half Greyhound, half Salukis that are like, they look like a track dog. I mean, they're powerful, super muscular. And then I've seen them that look skinny and ropey like a Saluki. And so I'm not I guess I'm not saying it's a bad idea to make those halves. They're really fantastic running dogs. They really are. But to me, I think it's best to stick to like a line that works best for my terrain. And Shorty, as a guy who's running in like really unique and inhospitable terrain, like you kind of know what I'm talking about. And we're like, I have to factor in physical durability extremely high almost higher than their ability to like consistently catch hares, because like a coursing dog is running across the ground at almost 50, and they're going to get thrashed by the ground if they're not tough bodies. And that's what I've learned the hard way. You know, I started off with some dogs that were a little bit too high powered and too fragile, and now I'm really paying the price for that. And so I'm having to change up everything I thought I was going to continue with. Life is just a long learning curve. And now I'm having to completely go back to the drawing board and kind of maybe reimagine how I want to continue my lineages forward. So it's been great. And I was kind of in agreement with you that like I always was taught and kind of have seen firsthand best to best, and best is a really ephemeral or like fluid variability that changes where you're hunting, what style you're doing, like, and that's something I've like continued to really enjoy about this lifestyle, is like how much information there is to learn. I mean, it's so much more in depth and so much more knowledge per square inch in a houndsman's brain than I have always felt in almost any other kind of sportsman, just because there's so much to it. And that's kind of what I love so much about it. There's a never ending learning curve. Like my buddy's 80 and he tells me he's still learning new stuff all the time. He's been running for 70 years, you know? So anyway, that was kind of a tangent, but there was a lot I wanted to say.
Well, I think also we got to take into consideration, are you just hunting in your backyard? Because if I'm just hunting in my backyard, the same kind of traits that I'm looking for aren't going to work in Las Cruces, New Mexico, for whatever I'm trying to do there. So
exactly,
Josh, what do you think?
I really do agree with Shorty. The best of best mentality is always your best way to go. And this, I know with tree and walkers and some of the other coonhound breeds, there was a huge. You
gotta stop talking about walkers. We try not to talk about those on this podcast as much as possible.
I did say other breeds as well.
Oh, okay.
But they're Trish, you know just as well as I do. You've heard the term brood female.
Yes, sir.
Everybody that's been houndsmen have heard the term brood female, and all that a brood female is something that somebody didn't spay that they think they might get some worth out of pups, and that's all it is. And some of the best breeders now have gotten away from that a lot in the last 6 or 7 years, and the results are there. I mean, you look at Jed Finley and Silas Trader, for instance. He only bred select females. He's only got, I think I'd have to check the numbers, but he's got maybe 40 pups born. And this was one of the top stud dogs of the 2000s at one time, as far as being hot and people wanting to breed to him and stuff. And Jed continually said no, and now his pup earnings are over $4,000 per pup, which is crazy in PKC. I mean, he had a real consistent breeding program. He stuck with it, and the results showed. And he's not the only one. There's all kinds of people that have only bred to select females, and the results, as far as your pup percentage that made something that could compete and win, were way higher than they were, 20 years ago, 10 years ago.
But when you're looking at genetics, genetics are hardwired with DNA and the whole 9 yards. So if you take two females, okay, we'll just boil this down. Take two females out of the same litter. They have the same genetic makeup. One is hunted and promoted, and whether it's on bobcats in South Texas or PKC, or if it's a long dog chasing rabbits, those litter mates should have the same genetic makeup. So why do we think that best of the best, just because one has been hunted and one hasn't, or one has come to the top and one hasn't? Why do we always gravitate towards that better performance based breeding?
That's the only way. That's really the only way that we can tell. I mean, we can't line up genetic markers. We can't hire a geneticist. We can't do things like that. So the only surefire way to make sure is to breed the best female to the best male with the traits that you want and that you need, because frankly, we're not qualified to make that decision otherwise.
Couldn't agree more. We
already know that a certain percentage of a litter, whatever it happens to be, might not turn out. So
Why? They've got the same genetic makeup. They should all turn out.
Me and my brother are out of the quote unquote same litter, and I'm like, look like me, and he's like a ginger. All right. So you never know what's going to happen with those genetics. Same mom, same dad. And like, he looks like if like a cheetah and a polar bear had a baby together and then dyed it red. You know what I mean? He's like a red freckly beast.
And I'm glad you said that, Seth, because I was just going to say the same thing. Like how many people do we know that are from a family? One of them's great and the other ones are dirtbags, you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing in a family. Which would you rather your daughter marry, one of the dirtbags or the best guy of the family? Right?
Yeah, but okay. So I'm a dad of 2 daughters. So and both one's married and one's marrying age. You know, I look at the whole family. I'm sitting there. I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, man, did she get lucky with this one guy? Or, you know, is this a solid genetic makeup as a family as a whole? Does she come from a strong family, you know, moral compass, a whole 9 yards? And
that is such a dad answer.
Oh, heck yeah, it is.
No.
Yeah.
Well, but even then, when you got a really good family, when all of them are really good family, you still want the best one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir. Can't disagree with that.
Shorty is just on a roll with inarguable points.
Yeah. He usually is.
Today.
He usually is.
Sideways here, prey drive. When you talked about why I want to breed Piper.
Okay.
So sorry to go back to that, but
you are like circle back, girl.
I'm circling back. We'll circle back. Circling back now. Actually, her prey drive is something that I just haven't seen matched yet. Even in like early on, even with the other 2 pups that I have here, their prey drive is right around what she had, but they just didn't start as early. And you could tell, Seth, when they were out in the cattails, I think Piper would work just a little bit harder.
I agree. I mean, we weren't putting up nearly the excitement or numbers when she wasn't there. And I thought maybe it had to do with the experience, because I'm not super familiar with your 3 dogs. But as time went on, I just realized without her, our nights were not as awesome.
Yeah. So that's a big thing that I look for, and I don't know necessarily how to determine that. You know, this is going to be the first litter that hopefully I make. Well, I don't physically make it, but you know. So, you know, sure, this dog can be successful. It can go, you know, tree bears and lions and whatever else it's going to be, or it could be a good, you know, solid reproducing coon dog from, you know, the reproducer list and coonhound bloodlines. I don't know what it's going to be. But when you're looking at an adult dog and you've maybe only been able to hunt with it once or twice, how do you figure out where their prey drive is or was and all of that?
Josh Michaelis, what do you think?
I don't breed to anything that I haven't hunted with a lot, and I don't breed a female that I haven't hunted with a lot, because you can see a dog for 2 hours and it looks like this or it looks like that, but I promise you, if you spend 2 weeks with them and you put them under a lot of pressure, it's a different deal. Now I'm very picky, because we don't want to raise a bunch of pups. We just want to raise the right pups. But
there you go.
I don't breed to anything that I've only seen go a couple times. I don't.
What do you think, Shorty?
I agree. And that's you. And you could go one day and that could be the best day that dog's ever had, you know. And we've all seen it. We've seen you have a dog will have a great day one day and not so great the next day. So yeah, you got to spend time and
consistency,
and know what those dogs are in and out. Absolutely. In the worst days, you know, you want to know. I think Josh would agree. what that dog's going to do in the worst conditions possible. And back to the breeding deal, like you were talking about breeding the males. Your best, the hardest thing about it, males are easy because you can breed them and walk away, but your best females are your best dogs, and so to lay that jip up and breed her is hard for a lot of people. I've had the same problem where you think, God, I need to breed this jip, but I just want to hunt her another season. I need her and da 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 da. But you really you need to be breeding that female because she's what's going to make you more good ones.
That goes back to that old saying, and a male dog will make you famous. A good female will keep you famous.
Right.
And that good producing female, she gives and she gives and she gives. And so many times we put so much emphasis on the stud dog. When everything's going good, it all goes to the stud dog. And when everything goes bad, it goes to the stud dog. And we overlook the contributions that bitch, that female whelping pups gives you in your breeding program. And some of the greatest overlooked dogs in the hound world have been the female hound. I mean, that's just the way it is.
What do you see on the top of the papers? It's always, the male dog's on top. The stud dog's always there first. And when you're reading the papers, that's what sticks out first because they're on the top of the list for every crop.
Damn coon hound patriarchy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, and you think a female may be able to give you, I don't know, 100 pups or whatever they can give you, and male can give you thousands.
Yeah.
So you hear about them over and over and over and over again. So.
Right. Hey, I got a question.
Go, Seth.
All right. Here's the thing. I hear this often, and I want to hear some pro opinion on this. Whoever wants to jump in on this can. But I've heard this many times. Everyone says that I've talked to that the female matters the most to get the best puppies consistently. So if you take a really, really, really good jip who's just consistently slaying the toughest hares, has good feet, and you just put a mediocre male over her, you're going to have way better pups than if you took a absolute stud of a beast male and put him over a mediocre female. Those puppies are going to be generally consistently worse. That is what I've heard. I have no data or experience to back that up. Who here can either verify or has their own opinion on that? Because I've heard that so many times, that the female matters more.
I think dogs are reproducers or they're not. It's repetition that determines that, and the work that people put into the puppies afterwards.
Perfect.
That's what I was thinking.
Josh, what do you think?
I think it's 50-50. I really do. I mean, you take a mediocre female to a mediocre male, you get mediocre pups and vice versa. I mean, some females, I will say that some females are lacking in certain areas, but they still throw that in their pups. But it's the same way with males too. I mean, I've seen really good male coon dogs bred to really good females, and the pups, not be what you thought they were too. So I mean, it is a bit of a crapshoot, but I still think it's 50-50. And you take these breeders, and I was going to chime in there before Seth interrupted me, but anyway. We were talking about breeding females, and I just wanted to give an example of how I got Con. I was hunting Con's dad, who's retired now and running loose at the house, but Jed had a female that he'd got in the Final Four of the PKC World Hunt. She had already thrown some really good coon dogs bred to Trader, and they even bred her to Naylor Seaman. And this was a well-known reproducing female. And he called me wanting to breed her to duds. And at that time, duds had never been in a cast, had never won a hunt, had never done nothing. And he could have took that female to any big name stud dog and sold $1,500 pups and booked them as soon as she was bred. But he chose to come down to my house and breed Squeaky to duds, and that's how we got the litter that Con had, which was a fantastic litter. So these guys with these good females also have to be, really humble in how they breed them and what they breed them to. And it's a lot bigger risk, just like Shorty was saying, to take that good female and get a litter of pups out of something like that, even if you think it's the right thing to do. And most of these guys won't do that. And I can't blame them either, because it's hard to turn down $10,000 for the puppies too.
I was told that, and by someone, David Heiss, who I've had on the show, he's told me multiple times, kind of echoing what Lauren had said, that you can take long dogs of just meh or just okay, good breeding, and if you take care of them, exercise them, keep them sound and healthy, and put them on lots of hairs, they're going to be way better than if you had top-notch breeding that is just in a kennel and doesn't get out and exercise, and then you just put a rabbit in front of them once a week and see how they do. I mean, I totally agree with that sentiment that Lauren said, and with David, that to me, you can kind of make up for, at least in my world, sometimes you can make up for some genetic disadvantages with a lot of practice and physical training.
I'll tell you what.
I mean, that's one of the reasons our pups are priced so high. Because guy takes a $250 pup, it's easy to waste in a kennel, but you spend a couple grand on one, you want to put in the effort.
There you go. That's smart. Actually,
you take somebody like. Go ahead, Shorty. I'm gonna weigh in right after you're done.
Exactly right, Josh. You're just getting. If you price them high enough, you're getting guys that are going to be serious at what they're doing, and they're going to take it serious, and they're going to hunt it hard because they have to financially gain that back. So yeah, absolutely. I've seen the same thing in the bull business. Selling semen on bucking bulls. Guys were selling years, when it first started, they priced it high, and that was the reason. They were like, we don't want backyard people. We want people that are going to take it serious and make a better animal.
I've seen hard hunters take whatever and make phenomenal dogs out of them, far more than I've seen people who spend money on that pup that don't want to hunt. It doesn't matter what you've got in your kennel. If you don't get it out,
exactly,
it's not going to be a dog. It just isn't going to. It's not going to pan out. You take somebody like Calvin Ridhouse. Calvin has taken dogs that he could find, and he's catching game with them. And I've hunted with his pack, and they're all hard-working dogs, but he's out there every day. And we can find coon hunters that do the same thing. And it's so much of it is a crapshoot. When you raise a litter of puppies, you want to make sure every one of those pups goes to a hard hunter. If you want to keep your breeding program famous, you've got to make sure that those pups go to the right spots, not just the guy that pulls in your driveway with a check.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's one thing I've learned is a lot of discretion. Oh, go ahead, Shorty. I had a hard time hearing you, brother.
That was me. But yeah, there's not very many good pup guys around. They're really not. It's hard to get these dogs placed into the hands of a good hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why is that?
I believe that.
Does everybody just want do you think it's a thing where everybody just wants to say, I want a dog off Trader, or I want a dog off Big Country, or I want a dog, and then they don't do anything with them? What is that, Josh?
There's some of that, but all of us sitting around here know how hard it is to start a hound of any kind, or a chase dog or anything. I mean, it's not easy. It's hard work, and life happens to some of these guys. Some of these guys got big ears and big eyes, and they really want to do this, and they plan on doing it when they get the pup, and then when the work comes, it's just not they're not able to do it. I mean, it's not very many people actually have a program to start a coon dog. They really don't.
I mean, I
ahead,
see it
Lauren.
I see it all over Facebook. Big name stud dog puppy. 8 months old, 9 months old. Only been on in the woods twice. Only been out 3 times. Not barking on track. Not this, not that. Like, did you give it a chance? And now you just want to turn it over and flip it.
Yeah.
Chris, you guys probably know what I'm talking about.
You bet.
And I look at it and I shake my head. I'm like, come on,
Yeah, 7-month-old pup up for discussion on Facebook, and it's one of those deals like 7 months old, dude. You probably haven't spent enough time with the dog to even understand what you've got standing there. And
especially looking at the history of, certain reproducers and when dogs are typically starting for that line, and what people are doing with those dogs. Like, I think you need to give it a little more of a shot. But I think people's eyes got big and, they're like, oh, well, I've got, $700, $500, $800, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just got a pup.
Lauren, you just said something. I want to take this conversation in a new direction, but not really. But and
segue.
when do you start, or when do you expect this line to start? Like, 7 months old, 8 months old, whatever. Like, Josh probably got more experience than any of us raising puppies. Like, when do you expect a young dog to start doing things?
The term start is so wide.
Sure.
I mean, with my pups, I start them hunting at night super early. I'm talking 3.5, 4 months old. I want them used to the dog box. I want them used to being hauled. I want them used to all those things. And at that stage, everything's really fun. You don't correct them for anything. You let them do whatever they want. They're just out there, having fun. And they run
exactly how I feel.
Yeah, until they get to that point. And then by 6.5, 7 months old, I want them going hunting with the old dog. I want them doing their best to keep up. I want them, really, really trying to do something. And I will continue from there. And I want them treeing their own coons by a year old. That's kind of my standard as far as what I look for in a pup. And that's not to say that these dogs that start late are bad or anything like that. But I go through one pup, I get them ready, I get them sold, and I go on to the next one. So I don't want to, just quite mess around with one pup until he's 18 months old and treating his own coon, or 2 years old and treating his own
I
coon.
agree.
And there's nothing wrong with that either. But I know what I'm looking for. And there's certain things that a pup can do. Say they're not treeing coons, but they're real wild and they've got this big motor and they've got this mouth and they're independent, but they're not quite treeing coons at a year old. That's fine. I mean,
there you go.
Right.
You're looking for those glimpses.
They have to go hunt.
Yeah, you've got.
Yeah.
A houndsman looks for those
Potential.
brief glimpses of greatness, and you recognize that hey, this is something that I can work with. I can see that potential in that dog. Take something as simple as riding in a dog box. If he's ridden in a dog box 10 times and he's been taught that when the door opens, you don't have to bust out of there, I want to ask you out of there. If he's ridden in there 10 times and he's still wanting to mob you at the door, then that ought to send some light, make some light bulbs go off. And
if a guy started enough pups, he can tell. He can tell what traits are there and what isn't. For us, it's motor. Yeah, laziness is the one thing I absolutely can't have. I mean, it's
right.
And you can see it in those pups at 3 months old. I can tell if the pup's going to be lazy when it's 3 months old.
You see the potential. You see the potential, and you know that it's there. And now I can work with this.
So inversely, what's something you don't tolerate ever? Because one thing I will not tolerate is a quitter. Like catching a hare is super hard, and you have to grind after him for at least 2.5 minutes at full blast. If you're quitting because it's too hard, you're out of here. Luckily, I've never really seen that, but I cannot tolerate a quitter. No way.
Yeah, they got to have the big no-go is motor. They have to want to go all the time, every time, or they're never going to be what I want, ever, under no circumstances.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I raised my puppies loose. Very fortunate to have the ability to raise them loose, and I'm with you. Like, I start calling right around there, 6, 7 months old. If I go out there in the evening time and all the pups are up running rabbits and there's one down there laying in the kennels, and that happens day in and day out, that pup is cold from the program, and that's I want a dog that wants to go wants to catch game, and yeah, quitter. I don't deal with that very good, but yeah, there's a lot of things I think, and that's going to be a whole new episode. I think on this podcast is the things that because we can delve off into that.
No kidding.
Far, but
even if they're doing something wrong, even if they're doing something wrong, an old timer told me, I worked construction one time. He said, do something even if it's wrong.
Yep. Hey,
and
I tell my guys that exact same thing all the time. Get your hands on something even if you don't know what you're doing.
yeah. It's just one of those things that you look at that, it's channeling that energy, it's being a coach, it's being a leader, it's being, so many things. But just because they're not doing the exact thing that you want them to do at the time doesn't mean that you need to throw. Now, if you've tried to teach them not to do that 20 times and you're still at square one, then you've got an intelligence problem. You don't have you don't have a prey driving problem. You've got an intelligence problem. So, yeah.
I mean, you're talking about doing something wrong. I mean, heck, this little puppy I've got, I was even happy to see her go sniff out in the field for that one little tiny piece of dried cow manure that I threw out there. One little piece of that. I mean, once she got it and was running with it and trying to eat it, then I told her no. But
you set her up for failure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, and if it's a puppy, it doesn't matter. That's what I learned from some old time lion hunters. Even if they go, you go hunting and a puppy, you lose the puppy, and then the puppy's got to come trail you up. Even if they're trailing you up, they're learning how to use their nose or learning how to use their senses. And so, yeah, young dogs, shoot, if they're trailing something, they're learning something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I go out with my youngsters, they're just cruising along with me, and they're just mostly just rolling in cow poop, eating antelope poop, but they're just having a good time, and they're watching. And when we finally get a hair up bolting out of the grass, they're like, "Oh wow, like that's why we're here," because they don't pick up on the body language of the adults that they're out hunting hard until that little gray flash comes bursting out, and then they all get it. I love watching puppies when that clicks on, when they're like, "Oh, we're chasing that little thing."
There you go. Awesome. That's the target of the day. Yep. Well,
Are you, Seth, seeing the same? Go ahead.
No, you got a question here. I'm going to wrap this up.
No.
Well, I'm not going to wrap it up, but I want to kind of move it into another direction as soon as you're done there, Shorty.
I was just wondering if Seth, so Josh saw it around that 6 month, 7 month age when he wanted to see puppies doing things, or wanting to. Are you seeing the same thing in your type of dogs?
Yeah. So to me, it's a hard answer, but I'm going to go back to like what Josh was saying about how it's stages. But as far as breed plays a big role in it, a greyhound is maturing much quicker than a Saluki and should be slaying tough hares by about 13 months to 15 months. But I wouldn't expect a Saluki to be really catching and being a really effective leader of my coursing pack until he's about 16 months old. But they have a lot longer service life than a greyhound does. So I'm not even expecting them to contribute at all to a course until they're about 11 months old. Maybe my Saluki pup Strider really turned on at around 11 months, and he's still improving at 15 months right now. He'll be entering his prime next season. But I'm not expecting any greatness out of a coursing hound pup except for hard try and a lot of encouragement that they want to hunt. I mean, they should be searching for hares and have it all figured out by the time they're 8 months old, no matter what breed they are. And they should be, when they hit the grass, they should be sniffing and watching for hares. I'm expecting by 7 months. And so far that's been the case for all my hounds, luckily.
Cool.
All right. So I'm curious. If a person is wanting to find either a side hound or a sin hound, you see this question on the internet all the time. Who has pups? So you've got a newcomer looking for his start. What advice would you give a newcomer to finding a pup that's going to fit their needs? And Seth, we'll start with you with the long dog situation.
It's all about where you're hunting. So that terrain is everything for a coursing hound. And if I get this often, like when new people message me asking how to get started. It took me months to find Mr. Bohannon to get my two dogs. And I would say first thing you need to do is go to the Houndsman XP podcast group and get your name out there. They'll help point you in the right direction. But for me, it's all about where you're hunting, and I would go from there. You need good feet. If you're running in the desert, you need tougher feet, less power. And if you're running on more manicured areas like the West Texas agricultural fields, you can have a lot more power. And so it really is for a ideal beginner. For a beginner, I say look at your ground and find people that have been there and hunted in your terrain. Jump in their dog buggy with them and watch them. Don't even think about getting a dog until you have at least a couple months of hunting with experienced guys under your belt, and then make a decision from there. But it really is, with the coursing hound, all about their body for the terrain that you're hunting in. And that's first. Obviously, you're looking for good genetics in any hound hunting area, so that's kind of off the table. But body for your terrain is the most important thing you can look for in a coursing hound for a beginner.
Lauren, what do you say?
So we're talking about like someone who actually wants a puppy, not just to get started in the sport, because we've covered this before. Like get a started hound, let that hound teach you. We're going to getting a puppy for the first time.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Did I miss the bullet completely?
No, that's what you're looking for in that, that breeding and all that. Personally, so I've seen and know people that will just get a puppy from anyone without knowing or meeting or hunting with the sire or dam, just because that puppy's in their price range. It's $150, $200, $250. I cringe at that. I honestly do. After doing this for a little while, and it's not a long while. I've only been doing this a little while. I think you need to ask a lot of questions, and you need to ask the people that what questions to ask. Why did you bring two dogs together? What did you like about this one and that one? What are the faults of this one and that one? Have they had litters before? What are those litters doing? And why are you asking this price? Like, personally, I think you're going to get what you pay for most of the time. I mean, there's always that chance that there's going to be duds in there, but I cringe at people who just pick up a puppy and not knowing anything, being like, oh, well, I've always wanted a blue tick in the kennel, so this is a blue tick. Or, I've been looking for, a leopard hound or whatever it is. Does that answer anything?
No, not really, but no, yeah. No, it does. So, you're taking it to that level of, asking those questions. You ask some pretty tough questions. And I think the main thing you said there was knowing the right questions to ask. A lot of times it's like, that's a blue tick, that's a blue tick, that's a walker, that's a walker, I want a walker. So, we don't think about those questions, the right questions to ask. And that's a whole different level of, that's like being a professional shopper right there, really.
Well, yeah, I guess, when you're looking for a stud, you kind of realize all the questions you need to ask.
See, that's why you're so valuable, Lauren, because if I walk in a store, I've already done my research. I know exactly what I'm going to be. I'm going to be there for 5 minutes. I'm going to walk in and buy it, and I'm walking out.
Absolutely,
my wife,
I can second that.
My wife walks in the store, and she knows what she wants, but she's like, oh, there might be a good deal over here. Oh, look at this over here. Oh, my goodness. I don't know the right questions to ask. She will take me on a complete tour. So, Shorty, what do you say?
Well, yeah, I think good information so far. I would say for a young person getting into hounds, I would get with somebody that hunts in your area that's very successful, the most successful person in your area. Get with them, try to befriend them, just go along for the ride. Just like Seth was saying, don't expect to take your dogs. Don't expect nothing. Just go get to know them, what they're doing. If you like what you see, remember, they're successful for a reason. So the way they're hunting, the dogs they're hunting them for a reason. Check all that out. And then hopefully, you know, if they're having a litter, maybe you can get in that way and get you a puppy. But don't expect to just get a puppy just because you call somebody that hunts in that area. Most of your real successful guys, at least in my world, that raise puppies, they don't just let them go anywhere. They're real specific about where they go. And if they don't know you, if they don't think you got what it takes, you haven't showed that you have the ambition to take that dog and make something, and you want to be a fantastic hunter, they're not going to give you the time of day or a puppy.
There you go. I agree with that.
Totally agree.
You know,
that's what I'm worried about looking like, though, to everybody else. Because I'm going to be picky if I do have a litter, because it might be the only litter she has. You know, if she even makes it to the winter, knock on wood. But I don't think there's anything wrong with being picky. I just don't want people to be mad at me.
That's a quick way to burn bridges. So, like, just get ready for that when you deny someone a dog.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's okay to burn bridges. I think Americans have a big problem in thinking that we need to not burn bridges and you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like, if you don't think that person's going to take that dog to the level that you want it to, sorry. If it cost you a friendship, well, they probably weren't a very good friend anyway.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I already said no to one person, so.
She said no to me. What a jerk.
Josh, what do you think, buddy?
Yes. Seth and Lauren and yourself and Shorty kind of took the words out of my mouth, but I will give one little piece of puppy buying advice. Do not, under any circumstances, get on Facebook and ask which puppy to buy, and then listen to the people that reply.
There you go.
Is that why you just canceled your social media accounts?
Yeah, I did most of them, and I'll get them back, which I do. I'll glance at them maybe once a week or so, but I'll get them back in the fall whenever we get to hunting harder and work slowing down and stuff. But yeah, you don't know who you're talking to. Do what Shorty said. Find somebody who knows dogs, that has dogs that you want to emulate, and do what they do. I don't care if I'm taking up competitive racquetball. I'm going to find the best competitive racquetball player and try to do what he does.
That's right.
I mean, that's really all you can do.
Yeah, I got some good advice for a beginner. If you're buying an older dog, like a 18-month-old dog, this is what Mr. Bohannon told me when I first started. He pointed his finger at me and he said, "Seth, don't you ever buy a dog that someone says can catch a jackrabbit unless you go out there and you see that dog catch a jackrabbit." So if someone's like, "Hey, I got this dog for sale and he's a total badass. Look at all these pictures of him running and all this and that." Go out there with that person and watch that dog perform before you buy it. Because a lot of people may be trying to get rid of some culls. Not always, but it can happen. To a beginner, I would say beginners are easy prey.
Absolutely, but just because that dog can catch a jackrabbit or he can catch a bobcat or he can catch a raccoon, it may not do it the way you want it to do it. You know, so you need to see that dog fits the style of hunting that you have, and you want to make sure that happens. But you know, I want to talk about the value of finding that mentor. You know, finding that person. You know, Shorty, you touched on it. You said, don't worry about taking your dogs. Don't worry about, be a student for a while and find out if you're a newcomer, find out what you really want. Find that most successful person, like Josh said about, if you're going to play racquetball, You're going to find the best racquetball player you can find. If you're going to play golf, you're not going to take advice from me just because I like to go play golf a lot. You know, you're going to take advice from accomplished golfers. And same way goes with this. And Randy Smith said this way back about being a good student. You know, find that person in your community that will allow you to accompany them and be a student and learn and find out what a good dog really is, because
that's right.
Everybody describes dogs in a different way. You know, I remember John Wick at one time he had come up with this idea about evaluating dogs. You remember this, Josh?
I kind of do, yeah.
He had come up with he put it out there in a Coonhound Bloodlines article about an evaluation system for hounds. And it was a great idea, awesome idea. But the problem is that every person describes things in a different way. You take just something as simple as, I have a started dog. What does a started dog mean? You know, does that mean that dog is loading in a dog box? Does that mean that dog is broke to lead? Does that mean the dog is, what does that mean? You know, the terms are so broad that we don't fully understand what all those terms mean. What's a cold nose mean? A cold nose in Southeast Indiana is a whole lot different than a cold nose in South Texas. I can tell you that. So you've got to find, if I'm from Southeast Indiana and I want to bang up coon dog, then I need to be finding people that I think have bang up coon dogs and look around and find what I want, not bringing my dog with me, not being the guy, being the listener, being the student, and finding out what that really means.
Humble, helpful, hardworking, the 3 H's.
And here, absolutely, 100%. Here's the other thing. If one of these guys allows you to come with them, one of these guys in your community that's the man allows you to come with him, bringing your own dogs is only going to be a distraction, because what you want to be doing is you want to be focusing on what this guy is doing, what his dogs are doing, not focusing on your dogs. You're there to learn.
Yep.
Being a student, exactly. And so just leave your dogs in the kennel. I know it's hard to go when you don't have one of your dogs, but if you have that opportunity to go with that guy that's the man in your area or woman, notice how I'm being politically correct. Just
God, the patriarchy again.
Yeah.
Well, and
you know, but it's a great opportunity, and just go and just watch them, what they do and how they do it, and you'll learn more than you will having your dogs there, I promise.
Well, you get distracted when your dog's in there. You're worried about them looking dumb. You're worried about you looking dumb. You're worried about them bumping some off game. You know, whatever. You just get distracted. I think Josh and I have probably, I know Josh has judged a lot of casts where he didn't have a dog involved in it. And this is speaking more for the coon hunter side of it. But I remember a cast that I was a spectator on, and I had a specific job in this cast. It was to call back scores and stuff for the play-by-play. And I sat there and I watched every dog in that whole cast, and I got an idea, and I learned something from every dog in that cast. I didn't have a dog there. It was just, I was a spectator, and I learned something from those dogs. Have you ever had an experience like that, Josh?
I've had a lot of experiences like that. And then you look at like my YouTube channel where I get to hunt with multiple world champions and national champions and truck hunt winners. And, you know, my brother's dog won super stakes and stuff like that. And it is hard because we all got a competitive side. When halftime Ruby comes over to the house, who's the winningest coon dog of all time, I really want to line Con up right next to her and see how he, you know, performs next to a dog like that, a dog of that caliber.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. We all do. But you were talking about being a student, and even as a young hunter, that's very important, but that should never go away. You know, when I'm judging a pro classic and I've got handlers I've got 4 handlers that I'm judging, and their dogs have won, close to $1 million between the 4 of them, or something crazy like that, or the handlers have won that much. Not only do I have to be firm and judge and things like that, but I pay attention to how they handle their dog, what they're looking for in a dog. I try to pick their brain when I can, when I'm around them, and thankfully I've got a lot of friends like that. So, yeah, that student part should never go away. We should always be learning, and we should always be humble too.
I've had the opportunity to spectate a bunch of casts, and when you don't have a dog in there, you pay so much more attention to how things are like. I get so much tunnel vision on my dog that I'm not really thinking about the other dogs and what's happening. You pay attention to each dog's detail when you don't have your own dog in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Watching a houndsman work is such a beautiful thing, because they do things that you think about doing without any effort. You can tell they've been there, they've done that. They know how to act in that certain situation, whether it's in competition. You can tell the guy that's been in a lot of competition casts. You can tell the guy that's been on a lot of lion tracks. You can tell the guy that's been in a lot of bear races. Or, I've never chased hares, but I'm sure you see the same thing, Seth. That guy, they just make it look natural. It's part of their life. And that's what sets houndsmen apart. And that's what makes it so important for younger people who are striving to become houndsmen to understand and observe and see that from people. And I see it from people that are much younger than me. When we travel around and we go to different places and I see them do things, I look at it and I think, man, that was smooth. I just, and you realize that they're real on point.
You just said a part of life, and that it seems like it's a part of life. When you start talking about these great hunters, these guys that really, really, they do it so often that not only is it a part of their life, it's a part of their dog's life.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Definitely.
It just flows smoothly because it's something that they do every day. It's not
exactly
like, hey, let's go hunting this weekend. No, it's like these hunters and these hounds do this stuff every day, and that's why it clicks. And that's
being retired helps them a lot. You know what I mean? If I didn't have a full-time job, I'd be there too.
No, and that's it goes back to the conversation way back when we were talking about placing puppies and whatever. Like, life happens. Like, we're all so busy. Some of us are, busier than others, whatever. Like, I'm fortunate enough to have a job that I work weekends, so I have all week to hunt. So it works out for me that I get to hunt hounds a lot. But the guys that are winning casts, that are catching a lot of hare, they find a way to do it as much as they possibly can. And that doesn't have to be every day, but it's probably going to be 4 or 5 days a week,
Yeah. Yeah. Man, we made a big loop right there. We really did. I think it goes back to that. We absolutely have to be diligent we've been placed in this world as stewards over this animal kingdom. And we have to make good decisions when we are going to practice animal husbandry. There's no doubt about that. But there is also an argument to be made for the guy that's just a hard, dedicated hunter that puts in the boot leather and the time. When you become that guy that's the houndsman, he's not afraid to take a chance on, who's Piper? I've never heard of Piper, but she, Lauren Varani has bred her Piper female to this dog, and I like the way the genetics stack up. So I'm willing to take a pup and look at that and work with it. I think that's where it really comes down. The rubber meets the road is taking every opportunity, and like you said, Shorty, finding that time, making that time to be in the woods with that dog.
Right, actually giving it the shot. like, the shot, the chance, the time,
Absolutely.
the dedication.
Yeah.
There's nothing more frustrating than a dog that doesn't get a chance. Nothing more frustrating to me.
For a breeder, or I mean, if you really self-reflect, Josh, it's even frustrating for the individual. You want to talk about adding stress to your life. Go spend money on a pup and then let it sit in the kennel. Subconsciously, that is going to add stress to your life. It does. It does me, for sure. Yep. If I'm honest with myself. And
then you get that feeling, and you talk about this time of year, and I recently just sold my young dog that I didn't want to sell, that I really liked. I really did like him. I think he's got a lot of potential, and he went to a good home. But our work fired up. We got just crazy busy all at once, and I knew that I was going to have to come home and hunt that puppy at least 4 nights a week. They have to be hunted that much at that age, in my experience. And I knew that I was going to have to drag myself at 9:30 when it gets dark, and I'm going to have to get up at 5:30 for work. And so I made a decision to sell a dog that I really did not want to sell. I mean, this dog was big, he was pretty, he was loud, he's got all kinds of potential. He was coming along exactly how I wanted him to come along. But that's a decision that we as houndsmen also have to make all the time. And sometimes it's easier to let them sit there and think, I'll get to it next week, but you don't, so you have to really buckle down and make the hard choices. And then, we have, like you said, we're stewards of not only wildlife, but these dogs too.
Yep.
Couldn't agree more. I think that's absolutely sage advice.
It's hard this time of year. It gets dark so late that, starting a dog and getting a dog really going, you're going to get less sleep. That's for sure.
That's the thing about raccoon hunting that I found so tough, is that I'm a early to bed, early riser kind of guy. And me and Lauren were out till like 2 a.m. I couldn't even keep my eyes open for the drive home. Like, I was so tired. She'd be talking to me and I would just doze out and then wake up halfway through her sentence and be like, yeah. You know what I mean?
You did fall asleep in the car and then just randomly wake up. But we could have just done it in shifts. I could have trusted you with my dogs. I could have gone out at night, and then you could have just taken them in the morning sometimes. Like,
there you go.
I'm telling you, man, right now, this time of year, my most productive time is, I wake up early. And as much as I try to retrain myself, when it starts getting dark, and you guys can make all the old guy jokes you want, but when it starts getting dark, I start getting sleepy. So same. I'm like you, Seth, man. I'm early to bed, early to rise. If I get up, and Gary Robertson's kind of the guy that brought it to my attention. Dude, get up at 4:00 in the morning. You're awake anyway. If you roll over, get out of bed and go. Go for a couple hours. You got 2 hours of training time right there.
Mm-hmm.
I can send my dogs on the plane down to you, Chris, and you can hunt them in the morning then. How about that?
Oh. Yeah.
I know where there's a good young dog that the guy just bought if you want one.
Yep. Well, what kind of final thoughts we got to wrap this bad boy up? This has been, like I said, this has been a mosh pit, but I think we kept it on the tracks pretty good.
Definitely.
Yeah. What do you think, Shorty?
I think we were with it.
I was just impressed we didn't overtalk each other any more than we did. But no, I think it's good. Just main thing is pick a pup from somebody that's being successful and go hunt them hard, and you got a good chance of being successful.
Seth, what do you say?
The only closing thought I have is 2 things. Josh, sorry I trampled all over you. And two, Shorty, if you don't like lazy dogs, don't ever own sight hounds.
Oh, no, I like lazy dogs. My neighbor's got a bunch of them.
Yeah, Pronto will sleep about 20 hours a day, and then he'll go out and hunt, and then he'll go back to sleep another. Lauren's seen it. She knows how lazy they are.
Oh, you said lazy. I thought you said lacy.
No, lazy.
Yeah,
lazy.
So we'll have to make that an episode now, because we have down here a Texas Blue Lacy dog.
Yep.
Yeah. I've seen those.
I thought you said. Yeah. So
Lauren,
now we'll have to introduce the Lacy dog.
Lauren, what do you got?
Well, I appreciate you gentlemen letting me in on this conversation late. You know, things happen.
We're used to waiting on women.
That's your fault.
I totally take ownership of it. It was my fault. I'm late to almost everything. You guys will get to know that I'm never on time. So it is what it is.
I invited you to go coursing, and you woke up. By the time you were awake, I already had a hair in my fist. I was headed home.
Yeah, we are different. I wake up a lot earlier than I used to, and I get going a lot earlier than I used to, even like 5 years ago. But anyway, I just I appreciate the information that I've gotten even from you guys on this in regards to breeding and litters and all that. And we'll see what happens with Piper, and everybody cross your fingers or don't. I don't care.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
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 It's just like, don't let me keep all of them. If you can,
that's what I'm worried about, is that you're going to have a litter of puppies and then it's going to go from 4 to 13.
I've been telling myself I'll keep 2.
Oh, my word.
But the other 5 are so cute. Hey, I'm not immune to that either, by the way. I just want everyone to know that.
I always want to keep them all. I really do. When I raise a litter, I'm like, wow, I could keep all these. And then reality sets in.
Right.
I think I'm going to be overwhelmed and overstressed and underslept, that I'll be like, screw it. I need as many gone as possible. I know I'm keeping 2. Get them out of here.
There you go. Yep. I always start out that way, and then by the time it's pickup day, it's like somebody needs to come and get some dogs. So, Josh, big show. What you got, man? Final thoughts.
I just want to say I think it was a great conversation. First of all, everybody made some really good points. I do enjoy sitting down and talking to other houndsmen and women, of course, Lauren. And apologize to Seth for getting a little salty back there with him. I also want to say those coursing dogs, I have zero experience with them, but man, those are amazing animals.
You need to come see, bud. Come ride along.
I will. I'm gonna take you up on that one of these days, because I'm not just a coon hunter. I'm a dog fan. Dogs that have jobs of any kind.
Amen to that.
I've always been fascinated by them. So
I got lots of room in my buggy, so get over here, both you and Shorty.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It is jaw-dropping.
It's a mosh pit. We're all talking at the same time.
Lauren can back me up. It gets wild in the buggy, huh, Lauren?
I liked it. I don't think it was too much.
It's just a blast.
Yeah.
Adrenaline though. So.
Yeah. Well, you guys are welcome anytime.
Josh, you need to meet me in Central Missouri or maybe Oklahoma and jump in with me, and you could leave a truck down at Lane's and I could pick you up on the way.
Yeah, I got a lot of buddies in Oklahoma. We can find a place to leave a truck. It won't be a big deal at all.
You just picked up talking about working dogs, you just picked up a blue heeler pup.
I just did. I actually ended up with a red heeler, and we were talking about, Lauren was talking about being window shopping and being real picky, and man, it took me forever. I've been looking for one for a long time. And I finally got one booked that's 6 days old, and it'll be here ready to go in 7 weeks. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I was going to give you a hard time. I mean, you've already got one blue tick. All that Walker talk, you've already got one blue tick. I was going to give you a hard time about strengthening your pack, but you really went to the dark side and went whole red tick.
I'm straight up. I do love dogs. I won't say I love an average dog, but I do love good dogs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good.
Well, guys, I really don't have anything to add to this conversation. You guys have done such a great job of carrying the conversation here, and I appreciate all the time and all the insight on this thing. I hope it was a useful conversation for people out there. I think we need to do more of these, HXP team. I think they're just good conversations to have. It's the same kind of conversation you would have at the tailgate or the local club or around the campfire, and it's good stuff. So appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody. So,
Thanks for having me.
You bet, Josh. Special thanks to our guest, Josh Michaelis, for coming on. Josh, we always appreciate your support and everything you do for Houndsman XP, and it's good to have good friends, man. It really is.
Totally agree with that.
Yep.
You bet.
Yep. So, guys, I'm going to wrap this thing up, and until next time, you follow your hounds, and I'll follow mine.